All right. So, be on page 10. Go to page 10. All right, so the cost represented by the variable y to fill Tim's car with X amount of gallons is $2.50 per gallon. Now, his car holds a maximum of 28 gallons. Okay, a maximum of 28 gallons represent the situation below. All right, so we need to create an equation first. I always find that to be the easier way of doing things, is find the equation first. So I know that y equals my cost. All right, y is going to equal my cost. X is the number of gallons. How much does it cost per gallon? Now, anytime you see that per, that means I'm doing what operation? Multiply. So I'm going to multiply $2.50 times X. You could have written it, side note, you could have written it like this, 2.50X. You could have also written it like that. All right? Now, once we create an equation, we can now then talk about, am I going to have a discrete or am I going to have a continuous graph? And the easiest way to do that is to ask yourself one simple question. Can I have half of a gallon in the tank? Can I have a third of a gallon? Yes. So if I can have a part of something, a fraction of something, that means it is continuous. That means it is continuous. Which also means my domain and range will be represented as such. Whoops. That's how my domain and range will be represented. Now, my domain are my x's, and x's represents gallons. Okay? The y value will represent your cost. Now, I told you that the maximum number of gallons that can fit in the tank is how much? 28 gallons is the most I can be. So looking at my domain, because that's gallons, looking at my domain, what side do you think 28 will go on? The left or the right? Raise your hand if you say the left. Raise your hand if you say the right. Raise your hand if you're afraid to raise your hand. There it is, okay? It will go on the right because that's the biggest number. Remember, when we write these inequality statements here, it's the least number to the greatest number, least to greatest, okay? Least to greatest. Now, if the tank can hold 28 gallons, if the tank is completely full, how many gallons can it hold even more? If the tank is full, how many more gallons can I put into that tank? 0, because it's maxed out. So 0. I'll have to put 0 gallons into there because it's already full. Now we can go to the cost. Now that we have our two inputs, aka we input that into the equation to get our output, the y value. If I take 0 and I plug it into the equation, what is 250 times 0? 0. 0 times anything is 0. 250 times 0 is 0. If I don't need to put any gallons of gas into my tank, do I need to pay for gas? No. Why would I do that? Especially since gas is so expensive now. $2.50. That's a dream. I wish gas was that cheap. Okay. Now, if I have to fill up my tank 28 gallons, how much will I pay? What? 7? 7D, yes. I thought you said 7, and I was confused. It'll cost $70 to fill up a 28-gallon tank. $70 for a normal 28-gallon tank. Me and your parents are paying $4 a gallon. Just imagine that. All right? So gallons and cost, domain and range. Now I can represent this. I can go from the domain and range to my graph very easily. When you create your graph, I like to keep things as simple as possible, okay? My X values are my gallons. My Y values are my cost. That's just me labeling my graph. Now, both of them go to 0 and 0, so I'm just going to label 0 because that's going to be an area. What is the most amount of gallons I have? 28, so I'm going to make 28 go all the way to the far right because that's the most I got. What's the most something will cost? So I'll go to the very top and I'll say 70. So I have I did my dots backwards. When I have 28 gallons to fill up, how much will it cost? $70. Okay. When I have 0 gallons of gas, how much will it cost? $0. Continuous means there must be a, starts with an L, rhymes with ein, line. If it's continuous, it must have a line. Mapping is the easy part. All right, always deal with the values you already have. Then I need to find 2 more values to do. Coach Kimball wants to make things easier. So everyone take the calculator. This is how you can find out more values. Okay? You're going to go to y equals, this button right here. Y equals. Okay? If you have something in there, go ahead and clear it. Just hit clear and it'll delete it. I want you to put in this equation that we created, 2.50x. The x is the button next to the alpha. Just click on that. It gives you x. Now from here, I want to go to my table. What color is table? Blue. So in order to get the blue table, I need to click the blue button. Second, graph to get my table. And look, 0 gallons costs $0. 1 gallon is $2.50. 2 gallons is $5. Look at that. Calculator does it all for us. So 0 through 28, I want y'all to give me 2 more values of x. What? 2 and 5? Keep it simple. Okay? So at 2 gallons, how much did it cost? If I put 2 gallons of gas into my car, how much did it cost me? $5. Okay? If I put 5 gallons into my tank, how much did it cost? $12.50. Now, what makes it a map are my lines. Yay, math. You know what's easier than going from a map from the calculator is going from a map to a table. Okay? Because what if you didn't have the calculator but you had a map? It's very simple. Okay, x's will always be in numerical order. And then the corresponding y value will go next to the x value. So when x was 0, what was y? When x was 2, y was? When x was 5, y was 1250. When x was 28, y was 70. So easy. Right, Tim? Yeah. Set of ordered pairs is easiest to go from a table, so now I'll go to that. All you gotta do is take your table values and put them in parentheses. And guess what? We are done with real world problems. Da-da-da-da-da. Turn the page. We are going to talk about what's called function notation. Function notation. What is function notation? Mainly, how do I know if I have function notation? If you are given that symbol, or you're given this symbol, or that. They all mean the same thing because letters in math are interchangeable, right? You can use whatever letters you want. But the biggest thing is knowing that when I have a letter directly next to a parentheses, that is saying I have a function of x. That's what that means. I have a function of x. So if I have f of x, I have a function of x. If I have g parentheses x, it's still called function of x. Or you can just abbreviate it, g of x, f of x, h of x, h of z, h of p, g of c. Literally, the variables are interchangeable. Now, if I told you to evaluate, anytime you see the word evaluate, you're going to do two things. You're going to, step 1, substitute. Step 2, then simplify. You're going to substitute, then simplify. This is what you're going to do on this one. Substitute, then simplify. That's all you're going to do. Nothing more, nothing less. Okay? Now, the x inside of the parentheses is called our input. The x inside of the parentheses is called our input. This entire thing is our output. Input is your domain. Output is our range. Input is your domain, your x values. Output is your range, or our y values. Down here in this table, f of x, all of that means y. Literally the variable y. The f parentheses represents the letter y. It's just another way of writing it. Okay? So I'm given a function, 2x plus 3. I am telling you that x is negative 1. What are our two steps here? Substitute and simplify. So x is negative 1. So wherever x was, I replace it with now negative 1. Now I simplify. What is 2 times negative 1? Because again, you get rid of the parentheses first. That gives you negative 2. What's negative 2 plus 3? 1. And that's my y value. This means y equals. That's the same thing. Y equals is the same thing as f of negative 1. Same situation. X equals 0. Evaluate. If x equals 0, and you are given the expression 2x plus 3, what would you do with that 0? Substitute and simplify. What is 2 times 0? What's 0 plus 3? F of 5. 5 is inside the parentheses. That is my input. So I'm going to input, literally do what the word says. I'm going to input 5 into the equation wherever x is, aka substitute, Coach Kimball's favorite mathematical principle, substituting. Simplify, get rid of the parentheses. What's 2 times 5? What's 10 plus 3? I wonder where I've seen this before. This is your Algebra 1 math review, the quiz. This is the first math review quiz we took. I look at the very far bottom questions. Evaluate. Evaluate. N is 7. Where'd I put it? Right here. X is negative 1. Here's your expression. Here's your expression. I substitute seven in for n, and I simplify. 49 minus 35 is 14. You have been doing this since 8th grade. The only difference is instead of writing all of this, this is all we need to write now. Instead of writing this entire sentence, all I need to put is f of 11. This part, I'll do a different bracket. This part replaces the first part of the sentence. This part is just that part. X equals 11. F of 11. X equals 11. X is 11. Evaluate. 4x plus 9. All you do is substitute and simplify. 4 times 11 is 44. 44 plus 9 is 53. All you're doing is substituting and simplifying. That's it. You've been doing that since ocho grade. That was terrible Spanglish. You've been doing that since 8th grade. Substituting and solving. So again, here we go. This is saying the same thing as y equals 6 plus 2x. This right here is saying x equals 1. If x equals 1, what does y equal? This is all it's asking. If x is 1, what does y equal? Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Substitute and simplify. Substitute. Now simplify. Get rid of the parentheses first. What's 2 times 1? What's 6 plus 2? 8. So y equals 8. Substitute, simplify. Substitute, simplify. What are we doing? Substituting and simplifying. Let's look at 1b and see what that's asking. This says x is -1. Up here, I said the expression is 6 plus 2x. Take that expression, substitute. Wait, what do I do after substitute? Oh, simplify. What is 2 times -1? -2. What's 6 minus 2? 4. Are we all scared? Or are we just tired? Tired is the answer. Okay? I understand. Let us look at 2a and 2c. We're going to look at 2a and 2c. What does g parentheses 0 mean? I've written it multiple times. Thank you. X is 0. Here is my expression that I want to use. What's step number 1? Substitute. Negative, parentheses 0. Always put a parentheses around where you substitute. Do you think that's important? If I just yelled it like that, do you think that's important? Yeah, it's important. Always put parentheses around where you substitute. Negative outside the parentheses, all you got to do is distribute it. What's the opposite of 0? 0. 0 cannot be positive nor negative. It is nothingness, emptiness. It is the void. It is outer space. Okay? It's just 0. Bring down the -3. What's 0 minus 3? Hopefully you said -3. 0 minus 3 is -3. Now, I said we're going to look at 2a and 2c. However, I want you to solve on your own 2c. Ready, set, banana. Everyone is solving 2c on their own. And Coach Kimball's going to walk around and see how bad y'all are. steps aren't wrong. We're supposed to do that negative outside the pieces. All right. Kinsey, can you just say verbally what you got as your answer? Y equals -6 is what she is saying. Okay? Here are our steps to prove if that answer is true. This is saying G is 3. Sorry, not G. X. My apologies. X is 3. I take the equation and I substitute 3 in for X because that's what it says. I have a negative outside of the parentheses. I distribute the negative. All that is telling me is whatever's inside the parentheses is now its opposite. So positive 3 is now negative 3. Negative 3 minus 3 is -6. Not what? Half of y'all had this answer. 0. -3 minus 3 is not 0. Positive 3 minus 3 is 0. Okay? -3 minus 3 is like, this is saying like this. -3 plus -3. I have 3 negatives. I'm adding 3 more negatives to it. I have 6 negatives. Questions, comments, concerns, tribulations, or conundrums? Okay. I'm going to skip this. Just because it's been confusing everybody. I just want to skip it. I want to move on. Alright, so here. I have f of z. Did I not tell you that all the variables are interchangeable? Okay? It's just making sure we're paying attention. F of z. Z is now our x. Okay, we're going to treat the z like our x now. So here's my expression, 1 minus z. This is saying that z is 3. You take your expression, put parentheses around where you substitute. I forgot step 2. What is it? Step 1, substitute. What's step 2? Simplify. What's 1 minus 3? You know what's cool is that me being a teacher, I can now say, you get to work on 4B and C. Y'all are doing 4B and C now. I made you do 1 example on your own. Now you're doing 2 examples on your own. No one wants to hear that, Tim. No one wants to hear that. Don't share answers yet. It could be wrong, like when you said 0.
I said 9. I said.
She just put it on blast like it's nothing.
That's supposed to be your forehead. That's the word for forehead. Right? Oh, that's wrong.
You just make it easy. You just left the binder tabs open. All right. Good job. All right. Really, really good job. Isabella. What'd you get for B?
Me?
Isabel.
Oh.
Isa.
I got 3.
You got 3? Okay, so you're saying y equals 3. So let's double check to make sure if that's true or not. So the expression I have is 1 minus whatever I am replacing the z with, which in this case is negative 2. Okay. Now, I have a parentheses. That was weird. I have a parentheses here, so that means I need to get rid of it with distributing. So I distribute my negative to the parentheses. All that is telling you when you distribute a negative is just change everything in the parentheses to its opposite. What is the opposite of negative 2? Positive 2. Simplify again. What's 1 plus 2? 3. Okay, good job. This one right here, same thing. I have my expression. I replace z with 0. If I distribute the negative to that parentheses, does that 0 become a negative 0? No, there's no such thing. Okay? 0 is a void. It's 0. There is no positive 0 or negative 0. It's just 0. It's just, it exists. Okay? It's just there. So 1 minus 0 is 1. Or what'd you get? 0? You're telling me 1 minus 0? You multiplied? Womp womp. Alright, let's look at 6. Okay? We're skipping 5 because it's just more of what we just did. So looking at 6. Now this time, I'm telling you, given that f of x, aka given that y equals 2x, find each of the following. Remember, f of x, that entire thing equals the variable y. That's just your output. Okay? Now, looking at A here, what am I missing? Your x. I'm missing the x. So what did I give you? If I did not give you the x, what did I give you? The y. So I have y equals 2x. This is your y, this is your x. I'm missing the x. But I have a value for y, so can I substitute that? Yeah, I can, because I know the value of y. So I take 4, and I replace it with y, and now I solve for x. So I divide by 2 to both sides, to where x now equals 4 divided by 2, which is, and that's my answer. So what we're saying is when x is 2, y is 4. Bada bing, bada boom. Bada bop bop. Same situation. You're missing the x, but I give you the y. I take my expression and I replace y with -4. And now I just solve for the missing x. Divide by 2, divide by 2. X now equals -2. Yay! Turn the page. Last page notes. Now we can find our x and y values based on a graph. When it looks like this, that's your x, that's your y. I gave you your y value. You need to tell me the corresponding x value to that y value. So at y equals 0, what was my x value? 0. It's at the origin. That one's at the origin. That dot was at the origin. All right. This one, I give you x, and I'm looking for the y value. So I'm going to find x equals 2. So x2, that's this right here. Find the only dot on that part right there. And what is the y value? 2. Yay. This third one, do I give you x or do I give you y? I give you y, so we're solving for the x. So the y value is -2, so I'm going to go down to -2 on the y value and look for the corresponding x values. Hey, look, how many x values am I going to have right here? I'm going to have 2 of them. I'm going to have 2 x values here. What's the first x value? What? Hopefully you said -3 is the first x value. Right here. The second y value is 5. Yes, you can have more than one x value for each y value. Over here, let's look at this graph, the line graph. So that was a discrete graph. Here's a continuous graph. When x is -1, what is y? So I go to x at -1. I find where the line crosses right there. At what y value are we located? -2. Does everyone get a good grasp on what we're doing on the graphs? You're just trying to find the ordered pair. That's really all you're doing. You're just finding the ordered pair. One more. When y is 2, what is x? So I go to y value 2, find where the line crosses, and the x value is 1. Again, you're just finding the ordered pair. Here comes the easy part. A table. Tables are so easy. Okay? When y is 10, what's my x value? 60. It's literally right there. It's literally right there. When x is 48, what's the y value? 8. It's literally right there. Literally right there. When y was -2, what was the x? So easy. It's literally right there. Tables are easy. It's literally there. Mapping is a little difficult, only in the aspect of you have to look at the lines themselves. Okay? So x value 1, I want to know the y value. On a map, where are my x's? On the left or the right? X's are where my x's are? Okay. X is always on the left, y is always on the right, alphabetical order, x then y. So x of... That is the loudest drink of water I've ever heard in my life. X is 1. It has one singular line. Where does that one line go to? 0. So that's your answer. Y equals 5. Here's y at 5. How many lines does it have coming out? 2. So how many values am I going to have in this parentheses? 2, 3, or 6. They both work. Yes, on a test, you will have to show both if there are both. If there are more than one, write down all of them that apply. Aptly. Questions, comments, and or concerns? Any conundrums, kerfuffles, or